Alright guys, Royal Russell here, and today I'm going to be reviewing Survivor Series 2018. Honestly, I got in early last night at about 3:45 and I was so tired. I was not reviewing this show last night. So I decided I'd get up today, pardon me, and I just got back from uni basically about 10 minutes ago. I just thought I'd get my thoughts on this pay-per-view out there. This was a long show, and I don't know, it's just 6 hour shows were a lot, and this one was a little bit shorter, it was about 5.5 really. But I think this show's very mixed from what I'm seeing so far. And I think my main problems with it are more in the booking aspect of the show. I thought the wrestling, for the most part, especially in a couple of matches, was very good. Nothing on what War Games had last night, really. No match that stood up to any of the last three, I don't think, on that show. But anyway, I suppose we should get into it. I did watch the pre-show, but for the purpose of kind of making a point, I am not going to review the pre-show match. Because the WWE had their pre-show match and they had SmackDown win. The pre-show, it was the tag team's traditional Survivor Series match, 10 on 10. I'm not going to talk about this match. All I'm going to do is say that the SmackDown team won, and I'm doing this out of principle because this result did not matter in the score for the brands. They didn't ever say it was part of the score. In fact, when the first match on the show aired and was won by Raw, SmackDown had no points. And Corey Graves pointing this out several times. SmackDown won on the pre-show, and Michael Cole kept saying, it's on the pre-show so it doesn't count. What's the point in having it then? What was the point in them doing this match? So I'm not going to talk about it, just because if it's as pointless to them, then why should I take it seriously? The Usos were the sole survivors of their team. That is all I'm saying. I'm not even going to review it. No. I'm not reviewing it. The first match on the main show was the women's traditional 5-on-5 match. That was Team SmackDown. It was Naomi, it was Carmella, it was Sonya Deville, it was Asuka, and then the newly added Mandy Rose, who was added on the pre-show. That team to me looked very expendable, and there was no chance I don't think that team would win. Especially that I predicted them as well, which mainly because I thought the fifth pick would be maybe an NXT girl up or Nikki Cross or something. But no, they just went with Mandy Rose, who is lovely. But no, that team looked dead. And then the Raw team was Nia Jax, the most hated woman in wrestling, Tamina, Mickie James, Alicia Fox, I think. No. Wait, so it was Nia Jax, Tamina, Mickie James, Sasha Banks, and Bayley. They were added on the pre-show because Ruby Riott and Natalya were taken off the team. That was it. Alexa Bliss was the captain. This match was very boring. This went like 20 minutes, and this was just very, very boring matchup. I can't even tell you what happened. Naomi was eliminated by Tamina. Then Tamina was rolled up by Carmella. Then Nia Jax killed Carmella and eliminated her. Then Mandy Rose was eliminated by... Mandy Rose eliminated Mickie James after Sonya Deville kneed Mickie James, and Mandy Rose tagged herself in to get all the glory. Mandy Rose was then eliminated with a bank statement. Then Bayley and Sonya Deville were both counted out. And then Sasha Banks was against Asuka. It was Nia Jax and Sasha Banks against Asuka on her own. Sasha Banks went up top. They had a nice little segment, Asuka and Sasha Banks, to be fair. But no, Sasha Banks went up top. Nia Jax pushed her off the top because she wanted to be the sole survivor into the Asuka lock. Sasha Banks taps out. Nia Jax gets in. 3 leg drops. Samoan drop. Asuka's eliminated. Nia Jax is the sole survivor. I get why they did this because they wanted to capitalize on this heat that Nia Jax is now getting. It's a good idea. I just don't know if she needed to come in and kill Asuka in that sort of fashion. This was very boring though. Very boring. Just monotonous. Just nothing really. 2 stars. One of the, it's not that exciting. Second match on the show, Seth Rollins, Shinsuke Nakamura. I thought this would be the best match on the show, and it was very, very good. I just think they got a bit long, actually. And I think a match between them would be better when the brand thing is not on the line. And when, I don't know, I think just for a title, in a title match on pay-per-view, I think these guys could have one of the best matches of the year. This match here was very, very good. It just didn't quite hit that really high gear for me. They had some great spots. Rollins did the Falcon out, the Superplex Falcon Arrow. Nakamura got the Reverse Exploder at one point. Got the double knees in the corner. Seth with the springboard knee to Nakamura as well. Towards the end of the matchup, Seth got the Revolution knee, the Ripcord knee strike. That was a 2 count. He then went for the... can't remember what he went for. I think it was like a curb stomp. Nakamura countered. Got the Kinshasa to the back of the head. Seth kicks out of that. Goes for a Kinshasa to the front. Gets super kicked. Gets the blackout. The curb stomp. 1, 2, 3. Seth Rollins beats Shinsuke Nakamura in a... Oh, sorry. For the Kinshasa to the back of the head, Rollins actually missed a frog splash. Cool spot. But no, this was very, very good. Just wasn't quite that, like, higher gear. I'm going to give this 3.5 stars. It just never quite... It was a bit long. Could have cut off 5 minutes, really. And then it was just... I think if they cut off 5 minutes, then the last bit with the near falls would have been a little bit better. But yeah, this was still a pretty good little matchup. It's much better than the opener as well. So at this point, Raw were 2 up. Third match on the show, and we had I believe, it was, yeah, very much so. Yes, it was the Tag Team Champions Raw vs SmackDown match. We had AOP, who are not called the Authors of Pain anymore. Akam and Razor against the Big Bar, the Sheamus and Cesaro, accompanied by the Big Show, of course. AOP are accompanied by Drake Maverick, the general manager of 205 Live, pulling double duty. This was not very good. This was very underwhelming for me, and a match I thought could just be 4 hosses. They didn't get a lot of time, so I guess it's not all their fault, but I don't think the guys really performed at pay-per-view level either. It was very house show matchy. In the end, Drake Maverick pissed himself, literally. He pissed himself, and that caused a distraction, and the AOP won with the DWI, the neckbreaker powerbomb that Beer Money used to do in TNA. 1 3/4 stars. This was nothing, really. That meant Raw as well were 3-0. Keep that in mind. 3-0. SmackDown really need to get a win at this point. Then we had Buddy Murphy, Mustafa Ali. We had a little break for a championship matchup, cruiserweight title, the Juggernaut, Buddy Murphy against the Heart of 205 Live, Mustafa Ali. This match was great. This was excellent. This was the flippy shit of 205 Live that I loved. This was arguably one of the best 205 Live matches I've had on pay-per-view. They did some great stuff. Ali did like a draping tilt-a-whirl DDT to Buddy Murphy. That was excellent. Ali then gave him a Spanish fly off the announce table. Buddy Murphy did a tope con hero to the outside. Big knees from Murphy as well. He's a big fan of Kenny Omega. Murphy was excellent in this matchup, but I think he is still one of the success stories of 205 Live and of the company in 2018. Really has had a fantastic year. Some great matches with Mustafa Ali. I don't think this was as good as their no disqualification match from 205 Live. That was arguably the best match from 205 Live history. Up there with, the Lucha House Party, Tony Nese, Drew Gulak match or Buddy Murphy match. Can't remember who was in it, but that was a great tornado tag match. But no, this was a great matchup. Buddy Murphy, excellent. Mustafa Ali, the top 205 Live, excellent too. In the end, Mustafa Ali, he went for the 054. Buddy Murphy moved. He then went for a springboard. Buddy Murphy caught him with a leaping knee. Hit Murphy's Law. 1, 2, 3. Your champion looks like a juggernaut, and that's how you should keep it. Buddy Murphy is an excellent champion. I'd argue he's the best cruiserweight champion in terms of presentation that I've had in quite some time. So, kudos to Buddy Murphy. 4 stars, great match. First great match on the show. Next up, we had the 5-on-5 men's traditional Survivor Series matchups. We had Team Raw, which was Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, Braun Strowman, Bobby Lashley, I can't remember what they called him, the Annihilator or something like that, and Finn Balor, against Team SmackDown, which was Samoa Joe, Jeff Hardy, The Miz, Rey Mysterio, and the best wrestler in the world, Shane McMahon. My biggest problem with this match, and with the whole show, was that this match made SmackDown look like complete geeks. SmackDown's team of 5 was assembled in the last week of TV, and I didn't think they actually had much chance of winning, but I predicted them because I think they needed to win a big match, and I didn't see Brock or Rousey losing. So I thought they'd win this. Well, for starters, Drew McIntyre took out Samoa Joe in less than a minute with a Claymore kick. Now, I like Drew McIntyre, but does he really need to beat Samoa Joe in a minute? Samoa Joe was the WWE Championship #1 contender for the past 4 months, since August. So I don't really know if Drew McIntyre needed to beat him that dominantly. Then we had, I think like Shane did a leap of faith elbow to Braun Strowman through the announce table, and all the SmackDown team helped him achieve that. Shane and Strowman were laid out for a while. While that was going on, Rey Mysterio was able to eliminate Finn Balor with the 619. This pissed off Drew McIntyre because Drew McIntyre was in the ring and Balor tagged himself in because McIntyre wanted to do it all on his own. And Balor just tagged himself in. He tagged himself in and then he kicked McIntyre in the face and obviously got himself eliminated. Well, pleb. What an absolute geek the babyface looked there. Babyfaces are geeks. Not going to lie. Especially on this show. So, yeah, Balor was eliminated by Rey Mysterio, and then McIntyre proceeded to beat him up. Amazing. Then Shane McMahon gave a coast-to-coast to Dolph Ziggler. That eliminated him. Shane McMahon was dead at this point. He then was told by The Miz to give one to Bobby Lashley. As he went to do it, he was swatted out of the air by returning Braun Strowman. Strowman got in the ring. He eliminated Jeff Hardy. He eliminated Rey Mysterio. He eliminated The Miz. And lastly, he eliminated Shane McMahon. So firstly, Shane McMahon was the last man eliminated for his team for a second year in a row. Oh my god. And I guess secondly, Raw absolutely dominated SmackDown. SmackDown had 4 men eliminated by 1 man. Braun Strowman beat a whole team nearly. And I get that you have to make that team look strong, because Strowman and McIntyre are going to, I imagine, going to a singles feud. But at the expense of your whole other roster. And also keep in mind, this now meant that Raw were 4-0. They were demolishing SmackDown. And if you wanted your B+ show to feel like a big show, your big contender to Raw, then you failed. Because SmackDown looked like complete geeks. Jeff, Rey, Miz, and Shane were eliminated in a matter of minutes. This match actually didn't go very long, which I think really, I wanted it to go longer, just so there was more time between the eliminations to make them actually sink in. Braun didn't have to eliminate 4 guys. He really didn't. He's over at this point, to the point where you could have him and a McIntyre. I thought they were going to take each other out. No, so your surviving 3 men for Raw were Strowman, Lashley, who did fuck all in this match, and Drew McIntyre. And then after the match, Corbin clocks Strowman and then runs up the ramp with Lashley and McIntyre. I thought this match was, in terms of like actual in reaction, very little really happened. There was very little spectacle to anything outside of the leap of faith elbow, but outside of that, there was very little to this match. I give it 2.5 stars. Just very disappointing. That's less than I gave last year's match, and I really shat on that match quite a lot. It should have gone longer, so the eliminations could be spaced out, and so that I just think Strowman didn't have to eliminate every member of the team except one. And Joe, the whole SmackDown team looked like geeks. really look like geeks. This is what me and my friend said. SmackDown look like complete geeks. Nakamura lost. That's fine. He doesn't look like a geek. The SmackDown, the Bar look like complete geeks because they lost with a distraction finish. The SmackDown women look like pretty big geeks as well, just because they got beat by a woman who sacrificed one of her teammates. Just horrible booking. As I said, I think the problem with this show really was the booking. Well, although at this point we have only had one great match. But that does start to pick up as we get into the next matchup. The Women's Champion of Raw, Ronda Rousey, against Charlotte Flair. This was a match that was pegged in for WrestleMania 35, surely. But no, we got it early, and it was actually one of those times where they do this like really sloppy wrestling, but it makes it feel real. So when Joe and Lesnar had their match back at Great Balls of Fire last year, they had that really kind of sloppy looking match, but it looked real, and that's why it was great. And that was the same with these two women. These two women were going so fast, like 500 miles an hour. I said to my friend, I think they're going a little bit too fast, but I like it. Like, they just went for each other. Rousey and Charlotte just went for each other. And Charlotte at one point threw Rousey into the bottom turnbuckle and like actually threw her too fast, and Rousey's like mouth busted open, and she locked her in like a hold from behind and elbowed her and like cut her mouth open as well. Like it was just weird and wacky, but I loved it. I loved this match because it was exciting, and you thought, oh my god, Rousey could lose. This was the one time in her WWE career you could actually think that she could lose, and she went the distance. A good 15-minute long match with Charlotte Flair, and Charlotte Flair kept fighting. She got a near fall off a spear that me and my friend thought was the finish. She went for the armbar several times. She got the Rowdy Buster at one point. She tried for the armbar. At one point, Charlotte locked in the figure four. That couldn't do it. She did her fall away slams across the ring. Rousey came in House of Fire wearing her red shorts. Trunks, shorts, tights, one of them. And her red shoes. She came in with fists of fury, just trying to take out Charlotte Flair. And in the end, she got another Rowdy Buster. She went for the armbar, but Charlotte rolled out the ring. Ronda Rousey runs around the ring. Charlotte cracks her with a kendo stick. DQ. Okay, sometimes DQ finishes really piss me off, but in this case, I actually didn't mind it. As much as this match deserved a proper finish, because it did, and it was building towards a proper finish. The DQ finish is okay, because I am now so excited for Charlotte versus Rousey 2. More excited than I would have been if either had won. And after the matchup, Charlotte destroyed Ronda with a kendo stick. She then destroyed her with a chair. She gave her a natural selection onto the chair, which at one point in the match, Rousey countered a natural selection into an armbar. Just excellent spot. She also countered it into a guillotine choke, and Charlotte did a powerbomb out of it. Just great. It's great stuff. She did the natural selection onto the chair after the match, and then she killed her with a chair, and then she put the chair around her head, stomped on it. The crowd said, "Thank you, Charlotte," which I don't think was the desired reaction they wanted for this new heel Charlotte. Very interesting that as soon as Becky Lynch basically turns babyface, they've turned Charlotte heel. It's like they can never be on the same side anymore. I guess they don't really have another big heel for that brand, with only Mandy Rose and the Iconics. I suppose there's no terrifying heel. So Charlotte is a very good heel. So good, and I am very excited for the next Ronda Rousey Charlotte match. They could do that at WrestleMania 35. They could have Charlotte win the Rumble, and have that, and that'd be very exciting. And I think that could be better than this match. And I thought this was an excellent match that I would recommend you watch if you want to see how wrestling can look so bad but be so good at the same time. I'm going to give this 4.25 stars. This was excellent professional wrestling. I don't think this was as good as any of the last 3 matches on War Games. I don't think any match on this show was. But this was probably the 4th best match of the weekend, which is good. It's good. I'd say it was the best match on this show, just. Then we had the main event. How long have I gone out of interest? I haven't gone very long for this Survivor Series. I think it's because I'm running through it. It's not as exciting as the War Games show, to be honest. We had the main event, Daniel Bryan, the newly crowned heel WWE champion Daniel Bryan, who taunted Lesnar as he came down to the ring against Brock Lesnar. This reminded me, okay, this match here was very much the match that Bryan would have had with Lesnar back at SummerSlam 2014. If Bryan never had to vacate the title due to injury after he won it at WrestleMania 30, this would have been the match he would have had with Brock instead of Cena, I think, because this mirrored that Cena match very closely, but it also mirrored and was nearly a carbon copy of the AJ match from last year, where Lesnar at the beginning just kills him. He gets his first, like, Bryan comes out House of Fire with a big drop kick to the leg, but he, like, missed. And I think he actually caught him a little bit. And then he was like, okay, shit, I need to kind of avoid you a little bit. As soon as Brock hit his first German, Daniel Bryan sold it like death. He got Germaned, he got Germaned, he got Germaned, he got belly to belly, he got another belly to belly, he took another belly to belly, F5, 1, 2, Bryan kicks out. Okay, so going, okay. Very, very much mirroring that Cena and the AJ matches, really. As Brock went to pick Bryan up, Bryan caught him with a head kick, caught him with another head kick, caught him with another head kick. He got up, but Brock somehow picked him up for another F5. He went to give him the F5, but as Bryan spun out of the F5, he basically knocked the ref over by accident. And then he looked at Brock, he kicked him right in the bollocks. Awesome. Gave him the running knee. I actually thought this was the finish. 1, 2, 3. Oh, Lesnar kicks out just before the 3. Awesome near fall there. Bryan now is in control of Brock Lesnar. Suicide dive to the outside. I think he went over the top rope to the outside as well. Gave him the yes kicks. He gave him another suicide dive to the outside, which was awesome. He sent... Brock caught him, though, after one, I think it was when he went over the top ropes. Brock caught him, tried to send him into the ring post. Bryan went out the back, pushed him into the ring post. Bryan rolled in the ring at 9, or I think 8. Brock got in the ring at 10. As Brock gets up, Bryan gives him another running knee. 1, 2, kick out. Bryan locks in the yes lock. Lesnar fights out of it, but Bryan elbow to the face, elbow to the face, elbow to the face. Brock somehow fights out of it. Bryan, though, pulls him into a triangle choke, a Hell's Gate, a triangle choke. Brock picks him up for a powerbomb, puts him on his shoulders, F5 number 2, 1, 2, 3. This match was great. This really was great. It was going to be my best match on the show, but when I thought about how much I did like Rousey and Charlotte, this was just a close second, and Buddy Murphy and Mustafa Ali, obviously, for the time, they did very well. These guys only had 15 minutes, Lesnar and Bryan, and I think they did incredible for the time they got. 4 stars, great match. Bryan looks like a champion in defeat. The only problem is he's now a heel, so I don't know if this was really the way I'd do it. I would have had Bryan win with the low blow and the Puzakai knee, like, just because I know he's only just turned heel, like. But no, that was your main event of the show. So I mean, at the end, you do have like 2 4-star matches, a 4.25-star match, and then a 3.5-star match. So as I said, the wrestling on the show was pretty good. Like, it wasn't quite NXT, but it was pretty good. Especially those 3 matches there. Rousey's come leaps and bounds in her development. Charlotte was very, very good. Bryan and Brock were very, very good in their match. Brock's selling, which people never give him enough credit for. Brock is excellent at selling. And then Buddy Murphy and Mustafa Ali had a little great 205 Flippy match. And Nakamura and Rollins, I think, could have been better. Just they needed some time cut. And I think they just needed a little bit more drama, a little bit more crowd investment. But the problem with this show was the booking. And you have to take that into account when you're reviewing a show. I think last year's Survivor Series, I can't remember what grade I gave it. I must have given it maybe a 6 or something like that. This year, I will go one better and go a 7. Just because I really enjoyed the 205 Live guys, Buddy Murphy, Mustafa Ali. Buddy Murphy's excellent. Mustafa Ali's excellent. I really enjoyed Charlotte and Rousey. As I said, best match on the show. And I really enjoyed Bryan and Brock. And I did like Nakamura and Rollins as well, as I said. But the booking of Raw at that point, winning 6-0, 6-0, basically they won. 6-1 if you count the pre-show, but apparently we don't count the pre-show. which is why I haven't reviewed that match. See, I haven't even told you who was in it because I can't remember last time. I'm not gonna lie. But no, that was a Survivor Series 2018. 7 out of 10. It was a good show. It was a good show because mainly it was saved by its last 2 matches. Really. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. This has been Roll Slot. Like, comment, subscribe for more. Tell me your thoughts. What did you think to Survivor Series 2018? What did you think to the booking of the show? What did you think to Raw going over 6-0? What did you think to the main event between Bryan and Brock? Did you really like it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was an exact carbon copy of the Cena and AJ matches? What did you think to the Rousey match? Did you not like it as much as I did? What did you think to the 205 Live guys? Did you think Nakamura and Rollins was underwhelming? What do you think to the 5-on-5 tag match? Do you think it should have gone longer? Thanks for watching, guys. This has been Revolver Ocelot. Was this show as good as War Games? No, it wasn't.